So, what are the things to look out for as a job seeker? When you are looking for a job, what are the things you should you look out for in order to land or get a good job? I would say, in my opinion, I think look out for companies with a good reputation. It's very important. Check for the history of the company, the image of the company, aspirations, values, goals, the mission. See how these ones stand in terms of what you stand for yourself. Look for the modern slavery and exploitation records. This is important because you don't want to go to a company where you'll be exploited, sure. You want to go to a company where you'll be respected and given good working conditions to perform and then excel. And then look for the carbon emission prints, environmental sustainability policy, visit their websites, and you can even use the chatbots and find out what they stand for and what they do, and then see how you fit in. In most cases, like I normally say, many of these companies, when they have such a good reputation in this area that we are discussing, then you know they are good employers. Sometimes when they don't have good records, then you know that's an indicator that you may not get exactly what you want in those companies. So for employers, what skills do they look for? When these employers are advertising a job, what do they want? So I've tried to picked out some areas which I think these companies are looking for. Of course, some of them are hard skills, others are soft skills. It is important to know these skills and see how best you can either acquire them or see if you have them, because you may have them and you've never actually realized that you have these skills. Yeah, you need experience and relevancy in softwares that are used, especially for people who are into technology. Have a general knowledge of what system a particular company that is as advertised is using. That one, again, remember, opens more jobs and more opportunities, but also helps you prepare to apply and do an interview in that area. Then also there are skills such as in analytical and problem solving. We talk about communication, people with strong communication, ability to work independently. Those are some of the other skills. So how do you stand out? Where do you stand? And assess yourself and see how you stand in these areas. Then on the other side, on the soft skills, can talk about problem solving skills, transport and distribution, in retail, decision-making skills. Critical thinking is usually very important because it helps also in problem identification and sorting. Communication, leadership, and these others that you see. So how do you stand on these ones, and how do you demonstrate that you are actually the right candidate, especially in terms of these skills? How do you present yourself? Even when they call you for an interview, face-to-face or written, how do you present yourself in terms of these skills? Even in terms of your resume, how do you present these skills so that they stand out? Because in most cases, these skills count a lot, mean a lot. So, what are the key takeaways now? We are saying this logistics and supply industry is growing. However, there are interruptions such as COVID, which came in, wars. We are talking about the low demand. And because of this, companies are finding it now more safer to keep what we would call a safe stock or a buffer stock near their customers, so that should there be these interruptions, their customers are sustained and they are served smoothly. The supply chain movement is smooth. What does that mean? It means that now we are getting more distribution centers in our areas, and therefore these distribution centers and supply chains are creating more jobs for us to take advantage of. So look at these, some of these bad happenings and interruptions on the other side as an advantage or as advantages, and see how you can cover this gap that is created by these interruptions. Excuse me. I've tried to share the links that I think are usually comprising or used to hire. Personally, I get so many job positions through the LinkedIn. So please be on LinkedIn. That is I would say no-brainer. Be on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn provides many professional and corporate jobs. We have Indeed. Indeed is very, very, very common website where you can find jobs. Others are directly go to the websites of these logistics companies, such as Maersk, DPD, and then there's this particular one that I'd like to emphasize, which I have tried to highlight, the generationlogistics.org. This is a website through which DHL is recruiting, and it is targeting university students. And by those students from Northampton, you take advantage of this because you are usually preferred. But ideally, this is interested in university students. So if you, after university, you are interested in jobs, please look out for this website. Apparently right now, I think it should still be recruiting, still going. And then the others are like, the other websites like Statistica. The list is also not limited to this one. This is just a guide on some of them. It's an example. So look out for the other websites. There are several of them. Look at websites of companies and see, then you never know. Most cases, the opportunities are varied in different fields. So that kind of wraps up our presentation today. I would like now to open up this webinar to contributions and see the next steps and feedback. I would like to hear from you, your contribution regarding this topic. Yes, Professor.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
We are fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess just to try and give you some perspective, clearly the subject which you're talking about is one close to my heart, because I spent 42 years working in supply chain and logistics. I actually worked for one of the businesses you talked about earlier, John Lewis.
Thank
Which
you.
of course is John Lewis and Waitrose. I'm not sure if people are familiar, but they are part of the same group. I think from my perspective, from both my business experience and my teaching experience, job opportunities, it's one of those things which I think is more and more falling onto you, the individual, to put as much energy and enthusiasm into getting that job as you can do. And I think, having looked at the slides and some of the information that you provided, you've absolutely touched on, I think, a lot of the really key elements of how do I get myself prepared? If I'm interested in working in the logistics sector, how do I prepare myself? How do I make myself the best possible candidate for that interview, for that job? And as I say, you have already touched on some of them. I think again, some of the things you've talked about, so COVID is a great example of how the retail world specifically were accelerated to a position of trading online rather than on the high street. And of course, what that did was it raised the profile of logistics and supply chain generally, and it made them much more important than they used to be. And I know that's a perception thing, because logistics and supply chain have always been important, but people never realized how important until COVID, I believe. And then of course, things change. And I know you've talked about some of the global elements. The world trades on a global platform today rather than local. Then there are lots of considerations around sustainability, environment, etc. But I guess just to focus on the subject you're on today, my advice would be, make yourself as accessible as possible and make yourself the best possible candidate by, and I know yourself and probably some people in this audience today have been through a university education. So you're upskilling yourself, you're improving your personal position, you're improving your knowledge, you're understanding what the challenges are that you face. And I think the thing I used to love about it is that no 2 days are ever the same. Very, very rarely, so the challenges and the changes, you have to be someone who's prepared to put yourself out there to cope with the day-to-day changes that supply chains throw at you. And I promise you, if you get that opportunity, it's a really exciting place to work. I think there are certain elements, and I was sort of scribbling a few things down, so I don't really want to repeat too much of what you said, but developing your skills and your knowledge, etc. It's really important, because if you want that job, but I guess for you all individually or anybody, you need to have some idea of exactly what you want to do. It's sometimes a problem when you're talking to people to understand exactly what do you want to do. If you want to be involved in logistics, how do you want to be involved? Do you want to be involved in an operational level? Do you want to be involved in procurement? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a CEO? Do you want to run your own business? There are 101 different things that people can do in the world of supply chain. So try and have an idea of what your preference would be, because then once you know that, you can almost custom your preferences. So I think you mentioned Indeed, which is one of the many recruitment websites. But the good thing about these websites now is you can go in and set your preferences so that it gives you alerts. So one of the things, because I'm still lecturing at the university today, and I lecture in project management as well on the MSc program. And one of the things, of course, for project management students is finding placements for jobs. And websites like Indeed are very good at flagging these up, as long as you, the individual, put the right parameters into that. But you can also raise your own profile. Again, I know you mentioned LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great environment in which to establish your profile, but then also you can join lots of different groups that are geared up towards this sector. And of course, if opportunities come around, hopefully you're going to be one of the first people to see those opportunities as they arise. But yeah, so look, what the thing I love about logistics, because it's my specific, I guess the thing I enjoy most is most logistical problems need a solution, and if you're a solution orientated person, then I think you've won half the battle. And I think that if you can put that sort of put that across when you talk to people, when you do networking, which I know again is something you've already mentioned, it's going to help you in the long run, and it will raise your professional profile as well. But yeah, so I guess, sorry, in quite a brief statement, but I think logistics and supply chain, there are more opportunities out there now than there have ever been, and it's growing all the time. You just want to make sure you're the right person or that job that comes up. And there are lots of things you can do to help yourself, but there's no better way of doing that than just putting as much energy into it as you possibly can and raising your profile.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Yes. Any other question, contribution? Yes, Chief. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Chief? Yes, please. Chief, please.
Ye- Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, please.
How does the role of a sustainability manager fit with the supply chain and logistics? I mean, the role of a sustainability manager who is more interested in environmental protection, and to be more precise, I would say uh, relating with the SDG goals, with the sustainability development goals. Uh, not only from a environmental sustainability perspective, but also linking the economic agenda and the social agenda along with the environmental agenda.
Okay, I think that's a very good question. Thank you for that. In terms of sustainability, as long as there's transport today, the logistics and supply chain industry is contributing a lot of carbon emissions out there. So there has been there is still a struggle for companies to try and become less carbon emitters, more carbon efficient, or trying to be more sustainable in terms of providing solutions that would protect the environment. Many of these companies have got long fleets of trucks that transport their goods from one point to another and therefore polluting the environment. So as a sustainability manager, it is important for you to know, first of all, where we stand and be able to provide solutions, offer solutions such as, for example, recommending going, improving technology into electric vehicles, using drones, seeing some of your products that can be delivered using less emitting means. Even when we use our carbon emitting vehicles, the ones that use combustion, we can be more efficient by providing them efficient systems. For example, you can have more advanced systems in terms of predicting the people who need services and people who need goods, so that you can coordinate the two. When you coordinate the two, that means trucks will be in the right place at the right time, and therefore you will emit less. Also, it will also save on the journeys that these trucks cover as they are transporting goods. Goods may not have to be taken all the way to a distant place and then back to a distant place by different vehicles. There could be a coordination such that the certain other companies can pick on from where you left. You deliver a product and then another company is able to continue, so that you save that journey and create a lesser polluted environment. So it is the work of the sustainability manager to come up with such ideas, better ways of managing the transport system and even the production system. How are companies producing in their factories? Are they sustainable? Are they carbon emission sensitive? Do they manage their waste properly? Are there systems that are there to manage this wastage? And then in terms of returns, the products that are defective, the products that are toxic to the environment, how are they being managed and how are they being handled? So it is again the work of the sustainability manager to do, and that's very important, I think. I hope that one answers the question, Shiv.
Yes, sir. I'm very, very satisfied with the answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Shubham, you have a question?
Thank you, Pascal.
Yes,
It was a very good, insightful webinar. Thank you for that. I have a question that since I work in a restaurant and sometimes we struggle with the inventory management. So, can you give us some tips how to better manage our inventories?
Well, first of all, you have to know, it is important, you have to know your customers. When you know your customers, then you'll know the trends of how the customers behave. You have to know times when they need most of your products and times when they need less. And therefore, try and have more stock reserved in terms when they are needed more and less when they are not needed. This could also be according to the seasons. In the seasons and social events, look at the seasons. If you are going to a high peak season, then that would be, I imagine, that is the most time when you need to have more inventory and than the time when the season is off peak. Like now, if you realize, most warehouses are not as busy because we are getting out of the Christmas season, and therefore you would expect them to be meeting less costs in managing the inventory, less staff and less equipment is being used, and therefore becoming more efficient. All that reserved for the time when the season will be up again. I hope that one gives a light and helps. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll follow your tip and will update you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, Dr. Bernard, please.
Okay, thank you, Pascal, for the invitation. Well, in line with what the previous speaker just asked about the inventory management, what would you advise as an inventory management software or system for a startup or a small business? What would you advise to be used?
Well, specifically, since I don't know the particular startup we're talking about, but in general, I think there are so many softwares out there that are good for startups. A startup, definitely, you have so many challenges in terms of cost management. Sure. Definitely, yeah. Investing in technology can be something that is a bit expensive, and very sensitive. So you may want to have that technology that you know that is going to work at your level. So as a startup, most of the softwares that work for big companies, the providers provide packages for smaller companies. So look out for them. For example, the IBM could be one of them. You can use that very one, depending on what you're doing. Again, once again, I don't know what you are doing. Okay. And then see, they can tailor that. Most providers of softwares in inventory management know how to tailor these softwares into your own environmental setting.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, Shiv, once your hand is still up. Tony, let's go for Tony once again.
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
sorry, it was just a quick response to the question about managing, for example, inventory, because I think if you really find yourself in that situation, my advice would be at a very high level, you really need to understand what we refer to as supply and demand, really, because understanding supply and demand, even at the level of a restaurant, whether it's a startup business, it's really important, because then, of course, what you can do is you can understand the demand trends, which allow you then to forecast. And once you're able to forecast accurately, hopefully you can pitch your inventory levels in a way that you cannot compromise your business, but you can run your business efficiently. And I guess I get from my experience of talking to businesses about this in the past, the first reaction tends to be, if I go for a low-level software solution, how much is it going to cost me? But I think you'll find that most low-level solutions would more than pay for themselves in a very short payback period, if you're able to use the system properly and well. Because, of course, and I'm guessing, because obviously in the retail business generally, there are lots of demand fluctuations, whether it be COVID, but every year we have seasonal demand fluctuations. And of course, for businesses, whether they're small or large, to be able to plan for those, there's quite an intricate plan. So yeah, I would encourage businesses, even if you're a startup, I guess I'm in project management mode now, but if you want to invest in a new business startup, make sure you include some form of inventory software package in your project proposal and in your investment appraisal, because it will pay for itself, definitely. So
okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Chief, your hand is still up. Okay, any other, Chief? Okay, now in case we don't have any other contribution, I have put some few references on this webinar, some of the sources and some of the articles that I read and I researched. Of course, there's much more content in terms of logistics and supply chain and career, linking to career. So you can always look more about for more information. It will be very helpful in addition to what we've talked about. And of course, at Stunited, we are one of the solutions to some of these challenges in terms of career guidance, in terms of job placements and job apprenticeships. So please, should you have any challenge, please contact us on this address. You can contact me directly. You can contact the organization itself. And then let's walk you through the journey. And for sure, we are sure we can always get you near placing a job or getting you a job directly. So please don't hesitate. Reach us on that. Find out what we offer and see how you can take advantage of us. I thank you very much for participating. Thank you for being part of us. I hope to see you once again in the future in more other webinars. Thank you for creating this time. All of you, I have got people from Uganda, Nigeria, India, I can see here in the UK. This has been very, very good. I thank you very much. Stop it.